Hello, Grade 11. Welcome back to our Statistics and Probability class. And this will be the start of our finals, correct? The final topic that we will do. Okay, so we will start our finals with this topic. So we will just continue about the statistics. Okay, so this will be our main topic for today. It will not include any solutions or any calculations, but instead we will just we will just need to understand each questions and just like how to involve yourself into a research. Okay, so we won't include any solutions or calculations here now. So we have lesson one for the finals, parameter, statistic, and sampling plan. Okay? So as you can see, these are some words related to your research. Okay? The parameter, statistic, and sampling plan. This is normally involved in quantitative research. Okay? Although some or maybe one or two words here are also involved in qualitative, but most of the time this will include in a quantitative. Okay, let's start. So at the end of the lesson, these are the objectives that we must it's like this will be our main goal for this topic. Properly distinguish between parameter and statistic, correctly identify the different random sampling methods, and accurately solve real-life problems involving random sampling. Okay? Again, kapag sinabing solve real-life problems, as I've said a while ago, we will not do calculations. Maybe some calculations, but it is just like in a easiest way, just like 1 plus 1 or 1 minus 2, something like that. Okay? Okay, let's start this one with our first word. Our first word is what we call the population. Okay, you need to list down all of these. First one is the population. When we say population, this is the group where members have something in common. That is the total set of observations that can be made. For example, your research is all about um, grade 10 students in that recreation school. Of course, your population must include only grade 10 students in Bethany Christian School. Okay? You cannot involve or include grade 9, grade 8 because your population must be centered in only grade 10 students. Okay? So that is the population, that means the total number of participants. Right? Kasi meron kayong part sa research, then you need to have some questionnaires, right? And then your questions must be, um, hold on one, must be related to your research title, correct? And you must anticipate while just like while thinking about your research title, dapat ma-anticipate mo na kung sino yung mga population ko. Who will be my participants? Okay? So that is the first word, the population. It means the overall number of participants you will need in your research. Okay? Other examples we have here, the population of senior citizens in Metro Manila. Example that one. So the center of your um, research is about the senior citizens in Metro Manila. Okay? Another example, we have the population of students in the senior high school program. Okay? So ang center mo dito is yung students in senior high school program. Kaya hindi ka pwede kumuha ng junior high schools because your center is only the senior high school students. Okay? That will be the population again. I will, kumbaga, lagyan ko ng ibang label. Ano? For population, this is the total number. Okay? Total number of participants and of course, in only one topic. okay, in a specific topic. If your research is all about senior citizens, so only senior citizens. If your topic is all about grade 10 students, then only grade 10 students. Okay? That is the population of grade 10 students in Bethany Christian School, for example, something like that. Okay? This is the first word, population. Second word, we have the sample. Okay? If we have, okay, for example, these are, or this is the population. Okay? When we say sample, we will just get, okay? We will just get some participants here in the population. This will be the population. The sample may be this one. Okay? So yung sample na yan, sila yung gagamitin natin. If your research is only concentrating on the samples, hindi yung buong population. Okay? So this is the population, and inside of it, we have the sample. Okay? Sample is a smaller group or subset of the population in question. In question means, for example, you are just needed only the some grade 10 students. So instead of all the grade 10 students, you will just get a sample. Maybe 20 of them, maybe 50 of them, maybe 100 of them, okay, used as samples. For example, this one, another one. A sample of 500 senior citizens from Metro Manila. For example, the total population in this kind of topic, for example, senior citizens from Metro Manila, the total population for all the senior citizens from the Metro Manila, we can say maybe it's 100,000. Okay, so instead of using 100,000 participant, that's a lot. Okay, you can use the sample. Okay, it's like here, kumuha lang siya ng 500. Okay, so yun yung pag-aaralan mamaya. Paano kukunin si sample from population? Kumbaga, anong gagawin natin? Ikaw lang ba ang bahala? Or is there a device? Is there a proper organizer? Something like that. Okay? So, malalaman natin mamaya kung paano kumuha ng sample sa isang population. Another example we have here, a sample of 1,000 grade 11 students from Metro Manila. So, meron tayong exact number na kinukuha sa isang population. Okay? Got it? Again, population, the whole number. Okay? Whole number na needed mo sa isang or sa inyong research. Okay? For example, ilan ba ang grade 10 students sa Bethany? Maybe they are ano pang sections? Dalawa lang, di ba? So maybe 60, sabi mo ng 60 or 50. Okay, so 50. Instead of 50, kailangan mo lang is 25 students. So 25 lang ang gagamitin mo, not all the 50. Okay, so this is the population, this is the sample. You got it? Okay, third word. Third word we have here, okay, is this, parameter. Parameter. It describes an entire population. It describes the entire population. Our example here is 45% of the senior citizens in Metro Manila are male. So when we say parameter, it is not just about the percentage. We can also say the average number, okay? Or we can say, what ko ba siya explain in the easiest way? It only describes, okay, the population. Or for example, you can say 1 100,000 senior citizens. This is the population, right? This is the population. So if you are doing parameter, you are just describing a part of your population. That's why ginawa siyang ganyan. 45% of those 100,000 citizens are male. So that is a parameter. It's just describing a part of the population. Ay, hindi ibig sabihin entire population, that means ang isipin mo entire, so lahat. No, right? It's just about a specific part of the population. It's like male, female, or maybe something like height. Okay, mga ano ba bang ibang parameters natin? Male, female, um, ay katong sabihin maliit tsaka malaki, mga ganyan, di ba? So there are such parameters. Okay, you can search that one in the internet para mas maintindihan niyo siya. Okay? But here, the only example is male and female. Okay, so the entire senior citizen, of course, we have a male and female. What if your question is about, or your research is about things? Na bang pwede? Maybe about hair. Diba? Pwede yung i-research about hair. Is it long or short? Something like that. Okay? Or colors. For example, what is the prescribed color of the uniform in senior high school and better sa school, for example. So mag-ask ka ng mga estudyante. So since your population is senior high school students, so you will ask them and then the parameters will be the colors. So maybe you can say 20% of them chose just like chose red, chose pink, something like that. So only part of the population yung sinasabing parameter. Okay? So that will be the third one. Next. Statistic. So this is just like the partner of parameters, statistics. So statistic naman, it only describes the sample. Okay? If this our population, if this one, if you want to describe the population, you can use parameters. It's like male, female, okay, colors, long, short, something like that. Those are parameters. And if you will just describing the sample, then you will do the statistic. What are those statistics? Okay, just like 25 out of the 100 randomly chosen like 11 students belong to STEM strand. The same thing with the parameter. Dito lang kasi ang kanyang concentration is in the sample only, hindi sa population. So, baga, they're the same, but they're not equal. So, parameter and statistic are the same, but they're not equal. It's because in a statistic, it only concentrates or describing the sample. In parameter, it describes the population. Okay? Did you get it? Again, they're the same, but they are not equal. Is statistic and parameter. Now, these are the different ways on how to find the samples in a population. Ito na yung mga pwede mong gawin para makuha mo yung sample if you have a lot of populations. For example, ang target mo lang, instead of 1,000 grade 10 students na nasa isang school, for example, you will just maybe find only 100 samples. Pero paano mo makukuha yung 100 na yan? So these are some ways to find those 100. The first one is the simple random sampling. Okay? From the word simple, you can just maybe put all the numbers. Di ba doon sa internet meron tayong tinatawag na number generator. If you are just like, if that is common sa inyo or you are not just like familiar with it, just type it in Google. I-type ninyo is number generator. Okay? Ilalagay nyo lang yung total number of population and then tsaka kayo mag-click and click and click until you found the 100 samples. Okay? That is one. It's a simple random sampling. Or you could use a simple fishbowl. Ilagay nyo lahat ng number doon from 1 to 1,000 and then you will just get 100. And then yung ilalagay nyo sa inyong research. That will be your sample. Okay? That is what we call the simple random sampling. One example again here, to choose the sample, arrange the elements of the population in order, and then use the computer or scientific calculator to generate as many random numbers as required. The sample will be composed of those elements which correspond to the random numbers. So it's like what I've said, pwede kayong gumamit ng fishbowl. Kung 100 yung kailangan mo, then you will just pick 100 papers. But make sure yung 1,000 na numbers andoon. Okay? Or sa number generator, meron din tayong random, it's a number generator wheel. So yung number nandun lahat sa wheel, for example, 1 to 1,000, 1 to 1,000 nakalagay dyan. And then, you will just spin, and then spin for 100 times para makuha mo kung ano yung mga gagamitin mong samples. Okay? So this is the easiest way of getting a sample. Yung simple random sampling. Okay? The simplest way from the word itself, simple. That's the first one. Another thing is, or another one is this, is stratified random sampling. From the word itself, stratified, okay, is stratified, it is about the subpopulation. Ano ibig sabihin ng subpopulation na yan? It's because here, it says here, this involves selecting a simple random sample from each of a given number of subpopulations. Each subpopulation is called a stratum. Okay, ano yung mga stratum na yan? For example, we have here, if a study is taking senior citizens into consideration, the population may need to be subdivided into subgroups. Okay? So yung stratified na yan, this is what we call subgroups. Pwede mong i-group yung mga population mo or your population into ages. For example, senior citizens. Okay? Ilan dyan yung mga nasa 60 to 69 years old, 70 to 79 years old, and then etc. And then after knowing those subdivisions, okay, kung ilan na yun nandoon, tsaka ka pipili ulit ng mga samples mo on each division. Okay? Did you understand that one? For example, meron kang 1,000. 1,000, again, 1,000 na participants for your research population. But you will just use some of them. So that will be the sample. So if you want to use stratified random sampling, you need to divide the 1,000 into subgroups. Did you get it? In subgroups, for example, your research is all about ano pa magandang title ng research? Sige, dun tayo sa pinaka madali. For example, ang research nyo is about the effect of online class, for example, the effect of online teaching to the quality of education or quality, pas ganun, parang anong effect nung online teaching doon sa quality na makukuha ng mga bata. For example, something like that. And then you will ask grades 7, 8, 9, and 10. That will be the junior high school students. Okay, for example, the junior high school students. So in a school, for example, in Bethany Christian School, we have a total of 1,000 junior high school students. Okay, so that's 1,000. At the minute, it involves grade 7, 8, 9, and 10. So since your population is about junior high school students, you can subdivide them or subgroup those junior high school students into their grade levels. So, nalagay mo grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, grade 10. So, after subdividing or after dividing your population into 4 groups or subgroups, just like grade 7 to grade 10, doon ka napipili ulit ng sample mo using simple random sampling. Kukuha. So kumbaga, this one is the combination of subdivide and then simple random sampling. So that will be stratified. Kukuha. 1,000 junior high school students, i-divide mo siya into grade levels. So that is grade 7 to grade 10. And then on each in each division, you will use a simple random sampling. Okay, kumbaga ilagay mo yung lahat ng grade 7 dito, and kukuha ka lang ng mga, for example, your target is only 400. So kukuha lang ng 100 sa grade 7, 100 sa grade 8, 100 sa grade 9, 100 sa grade 10. Did you get it? And this is stratified. I-divide mo muna into subgroups, tsaka mag-random sampling. Okay? That is stratified random sampling. Next one, the cluster. Cluster, the population is first divided into separate groups called clusters. Ano yung mga clusters na yun? Then a simple random sample of clusters from the available clusters in the population is selected. Okay, so ano yung cluster na yan? Kung kanina is stratified is about subgroups, yung cluster naman is also a subgroups but in a different way. For example, like this. If the population is composed of all the senior citizens from Metro Manila, the clusters could be senior citizens from the different municipalities and cities in Metro Manila. Okay? Data is then gathered from selected clusters like 5 cities. So this one is somewhat related to the stratified random sampling. It's because we will also divide them, right, into subgroups. But in cluster, we will just use the word cluster if our population includes the whole nation, or for example, the whole place. Okay? Still stratified siya, pero may iba lang yung pangalan. Kasi iba na yung ating mga gagamiting words. So from here, our example is about Metro Manila. So if we are using about place, okay, we will use the word cluster. So ika-cluster natin siya. Okay? Ano yung mga clusters na yan? Pwede yung cities. Ano ba yung mga cities sa Metro Manila? Tondo. Okay, di ba? So we will put Tondo, we will put other places in Metro Manila. Okay? And then, after that one, we will count the senior citizen that is residing on each clusters or in each cities. Okay? And from those clusters, we will do again the simple random sampling. makuha. Simple random sampling ulit, and then we will just do that random sampling, and we will now find the samples. Okay, for example, sa buong Metro Manila, meron tayong 1 million na senior citizen. That's a lot. So, in Tondo, maybe there are 100,000, for example. Another 100,000 here in another place, another 100,000 in another place. So, in that 100,000, if your target is only 500, maybe sandaan lang dito, sandaan lang dyan, you will decide. Okay? You will decide kung ilang tao yung kukunin mo in each cluster na kukuha. Basta makuha mo lang yung target mo na number ng sample. Again, this is somewhat the same, okay, to the stratified random sampling, but in stratified random sampling, it includes, kumbaga, baka may mga division na kung about age, okay, kung ang gusto mong i-divide is about 60 to 69 years old, something like that. So if this one is about age, just like what I did, yung sa grade 8, 9, 10, there are different ages also. So if you will doing about age, ang concentration mo, then you will do a stratified random sampling. But if you will do clusters, just like cities, places, you will do cluster. Okay? If you have questions about my discussion today, you can just PM me. Okay? Next one. 1 in K, systematic random sampling, or what we call the kth element. Kumbaga parang lang siyang nth element. Yung nth element kasi always na nasa dulo. Tama? Pero ang kth element, this one is just like at the center of each. Kumbaga, this will be first, kth, third, something like that. So this will be second, something like that. So it is at the center of each number. So ano yung kth na yan? This involves random selection of one of the first k elements in an ordered population, and then the systematic selection of every kth element. Thereafter, the value of k is first calculated by dividing the population size by the sample size. Suppose there are 500 grade 5 students. Okay, so that will be your population. You need to select only 50 students as your sample. 500 population, you will just need 50. Okay, so if you will use, or if you are using decayed systematic random sampling, ito gagawin mo. You will divide the population size, which is 500. I-divide mo lang siya doon sa expected mo or yung target mo na sample size, which is 50. Then we will get 10. Correct? So after getting that one, that means every 10th student will be included in the sample. Ibig sabihin yan, sige, maglagay ka ng numbers from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up to 500. And then, count ka every 10th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. That's the first one. Another 10, another 10, another 10. Until you found the 50 sample size. Okay? So medyo matrabaho lang siya kasi magsosolve ka pa, magbibilang ka pa ng ikasampu, ikasampu ulit, ikasampu, ikasampu. Okay? That is the 1 in K systematic random sampling. Did you get it? So we have 4. The first one is simple random sampling, stratified, and then we have cluster, and then the kth element or the 1 in k systematic random sampling. Okay, meron pa tayo isa dito, but this one is the multi-stage sampling. That means the combination. For example, hindi ka pa sa tamang term doon, yung kumbaga hindi ka pa ayos. Tamang word doon. Ayun, hindi ka pa satisfied. For example, sa sample mo, you can combine other sample techniques. Okay? So you can combine stratified and then cluster kung pwede. Pwede ka mag-combine ng stratified tapos mag-kth element ka pa. Okay, that is what we call multi-stage sampling. Okay, 2 or more probability techniques are combined. It can be described as sampling within the sample. Kumbaga, kung ay masyado pag marami yung 50, gusto ko 25 na lang. So from that 50 samples, gagawa ka ulit ng isang random sampling. For example, gagawin mo naman yung K element. So yung K element will be decided yung 25 mo na sample size. Okay? That is multi-stage sampling. But our only concentration are 4. Simple random sampling, stratified, cluster, and 1 in K is that systematic random sampling. Okay? Okay. On those 4, okay, I will give you some activities about it. So maybe you can decide or you can identify what will be the best sample technique you will use in each problem. Okay, yun ibibigay sa inyo first activity. Now, let us show some examples here. Let us apply what we have learned. Suppose the quality manager wants to know the average life of the battery they manufacture. He asks his employees to obtain 100 random sample. So may tayong sample of batteries and test how long the batteries will last. From those samples, it was found that the average life of the battery is 1,100 hours. Identify the parameter in the statistic. Okay, so ang hanap natin yung parameter, ano yung parameter kanina? Parameter is the population. Statistic is on the sample. Correct? So what will be our solution? In the study, 100 batteries are chosen as samples, and it was found out that the average life is 1,100 hours. So it will be our parameter, not will be our statistic. The statistic describes the sample, correct? So therefore, 1,100 hours is the statistic in the study. It's because that answer here, it describes the 100 random sample. Correct? Kasi yung sample mo yung 100. Ano yung result? So 1,100 hours is the static in the study. Did you get it? So yung 1,100 yan, it describes the 100 random sample. Now for the parameter is the average life of the battery they manufacture. Right? It's because our population here is the battery. And since we don't have an exact number of batteries manufactured in each day, so ang kinuha lang natin is the average life of the battery they manufacture. Nakukuha? Ito, 1,100 hours, that is only describing the 100 random sample. Okay? So kinuha mo lang yung sagot dito from that 100 random sample. So our population will be all the numbers of batteries, hindi lang 100, syempre that is the sample, and the parameter, it describing the population. So that is the average life of the battery. Okay? Average life of the battery they manufacture, that will be the parameter. Nakakuha? Okay, next one. Sorry, so nawawalan ako ng voice. Number 2. The marketing department of the certain university is doing a satisfaction survey. To do this, the staff takes an alphabetized list of student names and picks a random starting point. Then every 15 student, so not include dito, every 15 student is given a survey form. Determine whether the survey employs simple random sampling, stratified random sampling, cluster random sampling, or 1 in K systematic random sampling. So, what dito, ano yung technique na ginamit ng researcher dito? Since we have the clue, which is 15, every 15 students yung pinipili for the sample, that means our answer is 1 in K systematic random sampling. Ito yung ginagamit niya para makuha yung mga samples niya. Nakukuha. That is the application of our topics for today. Okay, if you still have questions, don't hesitate to chat me in the messenger. Hopefully, I can answer all your questions. But if your teacher will not reply, that means he is busy. But I will try my best, okay, para masagot lahat ng mga tanong ninyo, including our lesson now. So this will be your second activity for this topic. So please take a photo. Hindi ko na siya, oh yeah, I will do it also. Ayan. I already did a screenshot para ma-send ko ito sa ating QSA. Okay? So again, if you have questions, just email me or chat me. Okay? See you again next time. Bye-bye.